So this will probably be one of a number of videos about a teardown and hopefully a successful rebuild of a 1972 Moto Guzzi V7 750. Today I went to have a look at it. One of the issues with it was starting on the electric starter. There's no kick start on this bike, so it's the electric starter or nothing. The owner said that it would turn over, but it would get stuck at top dead. We tried it with the spark plugs out and it did turn over. However, he was adamant that if we put the spark plugs back in it would stall. So we took the starter motor off because we had plenty of voltage there. Took the starter motor off and I've brought it back to my workshop, and this is the tear down. So we'll just go through some of the parts. So this is the Bendix pinion drive. So this engages with the flywheel ring gear, and it's in not bad condition. It has a leading edge here, so you might want to see a 45-degree chamfer here, and it's mainly there. All the teeth are there. There's no excessive bearing. If you get excessive by bearing, I mean B-U-R-R-I-N-G. So if you get the surface material peening over, it might not engage cleanly. So that looks okay. Strange markings on the front, but I'm sure that's fine. Then we get to the bad bit, or worst bit, which is the drive end bearing housing, and as you can see there's a piece missing off it. Now this was known to the owner. Apparently this starter motor had been sent to a specialist, and a specialist had deemed this motor as being fine apart from this broken housing, which they suggested was repairable, or was repaired using Loctite or super glue. The problem with super glue and most Loctite products is, Loctite type products I should say, is that for two reasons. One, they're not very good with impact loading, and there's a lot of impact loading with starter gear. And the other one, when you get much above 85 degrees C, they start to release. And there is a third thing which typically doesn't come into play, but it may have done in this case, and that if you have moisture where the Loctite is, then it can absorb that moisture and it can release because of that. So what's happened then is that part's fallen off again. The super glue didn't work, and that's allowed this drive end bush to move. Okay. And because that's allowed to move, the rotor was allowed to move as well, and we can see some damage because of that. So this is a rotor. So there's that Bendix drive. We can see some abrasion damage here, and there's a little bit, the binding for the coils, the winding coils, has just started to pop, but that's fine. The commutator is in extremely good condition, really good, almost like new. And that to me is actually fine. Look how big the windings are, lots of current running through there. But that looks absolutely fine. Yeah, that looks in good condition. So next bit is the stator. So this is the stator. So again, we can just see a little bit of I don't know whether you can see that, but we can just see some abrasion damage where the rotor's contacted the laminations. But again, it looks absolutely fine. Just needs a good clean up. There was moisture in it when I took it apart. A little bit of water came out of it, and that's where we can see some corrosion products here. But they're not serious. They'll just clean up. Because of the vibration, because that drive end bearing was able to move, the vibration. What it's done is it's partly shattered the carbon brushes. Don't know well you can see them here, but they're partially shattered. There's lots of material left on them though, so I'm not overly concerned. Just as a quick FYI, if you do come to change carbon brushes, and like in this case the commutator's good, what you do to bed them in is you just wrap a piece of very fine emery cloth around it. You can just put it in like this. This is fine, and very gently just rotate it round, and what that's doing is it's putting the curvature on the carbon brushes to match the diameter of the commutator, and that's really important. It's really important that you get maximum contact for a number of reasons, but the main one is to stop sparking. Okay, but right, so as I say, the stator looks okay. Moving down to the non-drive end bearing, it's mainly just corrosion from that water. The bush looks pretty good, and then we just come to the end piece here and bolt. So overall it would be fine if it wasn't for this damage here. And the question mark is what do we do with this damage? Right, another interesting thing, I don't know whether you can see that again, but there's markings like this across here, and what that look, and across the bush as well. And if I was a betting man, and I don't know this to be true, right, I would say that what they've done is actually pushed in a new piece of brass. This is the company who repaired this part. They pushed in a new piece of brass, then got a hacksaw and cut it to length, and that's where we see marks on the brass bush and marks on the this housing here as well. So what we're going to do, so to be honest, the best thing to do is to buy a new starter, or to get a starter as a donor and put it on. So it doesn't even fit neatly now. Right, now my recommendation was not to repair, because it's not going to be cheap, because what we're going to have to do to repair it, but I'll be honest with you, we may have to go down this route if we can't find a replacement. But what we're going to have to do to repair it is to weld on this housing. Obviously take this bush out, weld on the housing, bore it, and then we'll have to assemble it and then line bore it, right, so it's actually correct, and then fit a new bush that way, or fit the bush and then line bore, I should say, not the other way around. And that's not going to be cheap, because you're looking at quite a few hours there. The weld, it's not the most complex weld in the world, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't quite go back together again now. It's probably because it's just been bashed so much, because I don't think it's even round anymore, because you can see when I push it up I can still move the bush. So not great. So this is the start of it. Hopefully things will get better after this, but here we go.